Hello, this is the Provoked Prawn, and this is the AOC CU34G2X, an ultra-wide 34-inch gaming monitor which sports a resolution of 3440 by 1440, 144 Hz refresh rate with a 1 millisecond response time, 3000 to 1 contrast ratio, and a variety of other settings and features that include AMD's FreeSync technology, low light settings, HDR modes, and more. This is an overview and a review. I've been testing out this monitor for a couple of weeks now, and actually it's a very good comparison with my standard monitor, which is a fairly aging Asus ROG Strix 34-inch ultra-wide, which is also the same resolution but 60 Hz refresh rate or 100 Hz overclocked, and similar in a number of different ways, but also a lot more expensive. My panel cost around £1,000 or $1,000 when I first bought it. It was a couple of years ago now, but this one from AOC is actually about $400, which is considerably cheaper, and yet, as you can see, offers a number of interesting highlights. It has both DisplayPort and HDMI, multiple inputs for those, USB pass-through, and a nice curvature to it. You will know one of the complaints I do have with this panel is the buttons underneath for the menu system. They're kind of fiddly and awkward to get to. You can see them here. Minor gripe with it, but it is a bit of a faff going through the various menus, and I'll show you the menu system a bit later on. And I have been playing with this panel and using it for work purposes throughout the day. Played a number of different games on it, both HDR and non-HDR games, and I'll show you some footage from that. And generally the experience has been pretty good, especially considering the price and the number of features you get. And as I said, as AMD FreeSync, so if you've got an AMD graphics card, you have to get the wonder of that. The setup process is also remarkably easy. It has a pretty sturdy stand that basically just clips into the back. You'll note a little bit of cable management there too, with a hole at the bottom, so you can easily get your cables through and tidied up as much as possible. And it just clips in and clips down at the bottom there, and you can easily take it off if you want to. And then you have a nice little base, and that base is actually another highlight, which is a weird thing to say, but if you notice the little two spikes at the top of it, that sits at the back of your desk. They're actually quite small, which means you can put the monitor quite far back on your desk. I've got quite a shallow desk, and actually comparing this monitor with my Asus one, I found that I could put the AOC monitor further back on the desk, which is nice because it meant it wasn't in my face as much and had more space on the desk than I do with my standard monitor. And I'll show you those two monitors side by side a bit later on so you can get an idea of it. This monitor also has a fairly nice design to it. It's understated and nice little red accents around it, but otherwise it's generally not in your face. As you can see, it has a nice tilt and raises up nicely too, so there's a lot of adjustment levels there. You can tweak the settings and the height to get it the way you want it, get it sitting nicely on the desk in a comfortable position. That curve isn't too crazy. You can see it in the video here, but when you're using it you don't really notice it, and I found the same with most monitors that are curved. See, the 34-inch size means that it curves round, so you get more a bit of an immersive view to it. Nothing like the 49-inch Samsung monitor that I looked at recently. And here you can see the menu system. I'm not going to go through all the different options in here. However, you will note there are a lot of them, including picture-in-picture settings as well, so you can have two inputs into it. It has various different game modes. You'll notice there's a low blue light mode there, which is very handy. You can switch that on to turn off the blue light during the day for working, for example. So if you're looking at spreadsheets or documents or white screens a lot during the day, you can take out some of that blue and the harshness on your eyes. And you can also see a HDR mode here that has various different settings on it: picture, movie, game. And then when you turn on HDR and you have an HDR game, it also does display HDR. And the settings are good and bad. I did find that I was messing around with the settings a lot, trying to get it working, trying to get it looking right. Once I did manage to set it up properly, I found that the visuals were pretty nice. It was good color range on it. The viewing angles are nice too. It looks quite washed out here in this little sample from Cuisine, but that was basically when I just got the monitor set up and I hadn't got it perfected. And it does look pretty vibrant, and it reacts really well. As I said, it's up to 144 Hz refresh rate, and you can get that refresh rate set in the corner of the screen to show you, make sure you're on it as well as one of the settings, which is pretty nice. Here you can see a bit of dirt, and that drives it nicely on there too. It looks really good here. You can see all the different color angles and that. And I have found that it's not too taxing in terms of the resolution. Obviously, I'm used to 3440 by 1440p resolution. I've got a 2080 Ti RTX graphics card and a pretty beefy machine powering it, so I don't have too much trouble in terms of the frames per second, and you can probably hit up to the 144 depending on what game you're playing. Here you can see I'm getting around 80 FPS, and it's with dirt pretty much maxed out, but it's a pretty smooth experience and it looks pretty clean as well. One thing I will say is I couldn't get the speakers to work. However, I found with these sort of monitors, like in my Asus one, really naff in terms of speakers. You want a dedicated speakers or a headset system to get the best performance. If you don't know already, you've not used an ultra wide before, one of the things you'll find is the ultra wide gaming is fantastic. It isn't great for streaming or doing videos on YouTube, but one thing you'll see here from the Red Dead Redemption footage that I've captured is the game takes up a lot of the screen. You see you're wonderfully surrounded by it and it looks great. Obviously this is an HDR game. When you get to cutscenes, you suddenly get a lot of black bars because the developers don't account for people with ultra wide monitors, and so you end up with a lot of black bars around the edges and tops, and it just takes away some of that immersion. But for generally gaming, it's a much better experience. You get a much more immersive experience. You get a lot more peripheral vision. For playing online shooters and that, you can see a lot more peripheral to the edges, so you find you spot enemies more quickly and you can just look around more easily too, and it's great. For working purposes, it also means you can snap multiple windows side by side. Now here you can see two monitors set up side by side, Asus on the left, AOC on the right. And I was testing it out, playing Netflix and Amazon on both of them. You can see it's got a couple of browser windows open side by side, snapped there. You got loads of room on these screens. There's not admittedly as much as on the 49-inch Samsung CRG9 that I was testing out, but still a lot. And you can see also that films look great on it too. It's got a fantastic bit of kit. Now for the amount of money you're paying, this is a really good screen, really good quality. It is obviously an ultra wide screen, and you will feel that in some instances in games, said with the black bars, which can be frustrating. But all in all, really, it's a fantastic bit of kit. I would recommend probably looking, see if you can find a way to fine tune the settings to your particular taste, because there are so many different settings. You even have like 4 settings for the low blue light mode. So there's reading, office, internet, and multimedia. And there's an eco mode, and there's a variety of HDR modes, and you've got color temperatures, you've got game modes for FPS, RTS, racing, Gamer 1, Gamer 2, Gamer 3, customized settings, overdrive settings, motion blur. Talking about the overdrive settings as well, I found that if I put overdrive on too high, which obviously pushes the screen a bit more, and I found that I was getting some pixelation effects in Windows when I was scrolling through web pages and things, so you need to watch out for those sorts of things. I either kept it low or off, and I found it still responded really well, and it's a really good feature-rich screen for the amount of money you're paying. All in all, I would recommend, would consider it if you're looking for something affordable and ultra-wide. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions. Thanks for watching. This has been the Provoked Prawn. Hope you found this video useful, interesting, or hilarious. Be sure to subscribe and check out these other videos, as well as taking a look in the description for links and other information you might find useful. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions or anything you'd like to see extra about this, and have a great life.